Wahoo! Yes! Bye, Emily. Bye, Junior. Sorry about that, T. Better late than never. Junior, I've been out of gold dust for days, and I've had a gutful of us having to put up with that stupid diesel. Later on down the track, Diesel 10 was chasing Lady, Jamesica and Percy. With the magic you refuse to believe in, we'll get the better of you, Preston. Which, because Preston was driving Diesel 10. Bugger, the ladder's broken, Gromit. The five in Percy's cab. Now it was night time and the engines have now got their lights on. Henry and Elward were in shock. Preston was busy driving.
Thomas was just pulling his evening branch-line passenger train and all of a sudden he screeched to a halt because of a red signal.
The passengers weren't hurt, but they were cross about what was going to happen.
Lady, Jamesica and Percy sped by. What's going on? Diesel 10 roared by. Bust my buffers, Fiona. You'll one day pay for this.
And now it was night time on the island. Boko was in shock, but he was glad that they were doing their best to fool the three women getting away from Diesel 10. And so was Daisy, plus Bertie and Donald and Douglas. And Murdoch tried to get in front, but couldn't make enough steam. Soon, I was busy running with a piece of steak for Preston. I ran as fast as I could after he had got out of Diesel 10's cab. I was running as fast as I can, and the good news is that he wasn't so lucky. And now he's met his match. Soon, Harold was up in the sky coming to my rescue. And there was this angry couple, Paella and, of course, Bernard Grubb. And luckily they had no chance to escape. Harold was firing his missiles, but they were trying to shoot back at him. But Harold was dodging the bullet, was good at dodging the bullets. Then, bang! The two of them were gone for good. But T and Junior, you still don't have your gold dust.
I think they will soon.
Well done, James and Percy, for helping rescue Lady. I'm very proud of you two. Wait a minute. Stoke up the magic in the mountain and the lady will smile and watch the swirls that spin so well. Swirls, those are the shavings that we found on the magic railway. Because we'll put them together to help T get his gold dust back, and of course for you, Junior. Good idea. Now, you, Grace, the one in the yellow socks, you throw it up in the air. Please, please. Now, Grace. Gold dust, gold dust, gold dust.
Lady, you're a really helpful engine.
And helping each other brings to life the magic, always. I hate the way Fiona and Natalie betrayed me.
Oh, chill. Danny, you're part of us now. Because Sir Thomas Hat will be pleased to have you on his railway better than that railway in Sydney.
That's right, Danny. Just glad to be part of this railway. Better than I was boss of Fiona's business.
Yes, that's right, Emil, Amalia. Hey, Thomas, we're retiring from pulling the express. Boko will be taking over. I'll have good splatter and dodge. What will you be doing now? We're going to become shunters on your branch line. Oh, that's good. Very pleased about it. Yeah, and it'll be good when Boko pulls the express.
The sheds had now been rebuilt for the engines. Well, some of them can't fit because the shed has got a small berth which Toby will go in, and Mavis, when she gets rebuilt, will go in too. And Mavis is being designed to work as a shunter from now on. So I came up with a plan for a good job for all the engines. You engines, I'm all very proud with you for helping stop that naughty diesel Fiona and her two hench diesels, Cindy and Darren. I want to say how pleased I am with you lot and all the engines getting into the sheds, because I will work out who will sleep where, and so will my uncle, because some of you might not be able to fit into the sheds here. So when you get rebuilt, Jamesica, you'll sleep in the sheds in the yard with Percy. And you, Thomas, you will sleep out Tidmouth Holt. And Danny, I say you'll sleep in the roundhouse next to Emily. Because we have a lot of things to work out.
Almost there. Look at that swing. Can I try?
So I decided a better choice, that the engines who have got lower vision sleep in the sheds in Tidmouth Yard. So I had a word with my uncle about it and he agreed that Toby, Mavis and Salty sleep in the yards in the sheds in Tidmouth Yards by the station. So later during that day, Stacey and myself, plus my mother, had done some good deeds for the railway. So we drove down to the pier somewhere in Sodor and found one of the speedboats belonging to Diesel 10's business. Then we drove off as fast as we could on the speedboat after I threw the flag grenade in the Bentley I had got after scrapping the mafia boss's family car. So we were speeding along the water. We were being chased by the people on Diesel 10's side. So they yelled at me to pull over, but I did the right thing to ignore them. And I dumped the petrol barrels into the water and pulled out the flare gun. So a lot of black smoke was billowing around the island of Sodor, and it was very dangerous. A lot of people were running inside to hide from the fumes and stuff all over the island. So it wasn't our fault. We were just doing the right thing to defend the people from Diesel 10's business. And finally we got rid of those speedboats. And the smoke soon cleared. So later that night, after the speedboat chase, there was a gypsy camp on a dairy farm around the island of Sodor at Tidmouth. A lot of people were out having fun, and I stood on guard with my friend Fireman Sam, who's the brother of my girlfriend Stacey, to help with looking out for someone who might come and attack. But trouble was brewing. The Princess Bride soldiers invaded the gypsy camp, and before the battle could start, Fireman Sam and I got to work to help defend the soldiers in the trucks. So we loaded up the bazooka with most of the bullets and we got firing. Fire! So we were doing it as quickly as possible, and the people were running to safety. Luckily, none of the engines were around. Yes, coming. I'll be out shortly. Sleeping in the roundhouse at Tidmouth Sheds by the big station was Percy, Jamesica, Emily, Gordon, Henry, Elwood and Monique. They were all glad to be back in their roundhouse, and the other engines forgave Henry for crashing into it because they knew he couldn't help it because of his faulty brakes. So they were all happy to be there. Percy is happy to be next to her girlfriend Jamesica, and Elwood is happy to be in between next to Henry and next to Monique. Well, Henry is kind of the only male in the roundhouse, but Gordon, which I have told you many times, is transgendered. Sleeping in Tidmouth Yard Sheds is Toby, and he's glad to be next to Mavis and next to Salty, their guide Diesel, because Salty helps them with shunting in the yards and pulling their trains, but Mavis prefers to shunt nowadays better than pull freight because she can't see that well, same as Toby, and they're happy that they're all together. And most of the engines at Tidmouth CBD, the main part of Tidmouth, were glad that they had a shed. Thomas was glad to be next to his girlfriend, Lady, and have Annie and Clarabelle coupled up behind, and next to Splatter and Dodge. A7546 was glad to be part of the shed. And so was Murdoch, Amalia, Murdoch, Bear, Spencer, and Mary. Oh, and Bear. She moved proudly towards her coaches. Shaking and spluttering, 98462 stopped. Natalie seized with fury as Lady and Thomas pushed her into Henry's tunnel because of her rude showing off. As for myself, there was no other way I could work out who could pull the express, because Splatter and Dodge had had enough of doing it, and there was no one else to pull the train. Perhaps Lady and Thomas should, because the single wheelers used to pull the express. Thomas and Lady, if you can help pull the express for me, that'll be good. So Boko will be in service to pull the express, where he can either travel backwards and as well as forwards. And I'll be glad that you two can help. And of course Bear will help as well, because you're the right engines, and Gordon is only suitable for the mainline express around the island now, and Splatter and Dodge will remain shunters.
Don't worry, we'll get there, and be early too.
Good. When you meet up halfway with Boko and Bear, they'll be good. I'll see you engines later on. So the engines were now ready to depart. Because they were happy and excited.
Now for a sprint.
I'm ready when you are. The guard blew her whistle and the engines were off. So now the engines were off. Now they were whizzing through Knapford Harbour. So they waited for a banker to get them up the hill. It was hard work, but the engines did what they could. And the diesel pushing behind did the right thing to help. And finally, they got to the top of the hill. They shouted their thanks to the diesel's driver, which is the diesel shunter, and they slowly went along the rails. And finally, they were out of Sodor and somewhere in Queensland. The two diesels, Boko and Bear, were waiting at the station. Hello, you engines made it in good time. Yes, that was very good time of them, Boko. I'm just glad that those two made it here more reliable than that old blue tea kettle. Glad that lady in here got this train here in good time.
The others say she's sick as boiler sludge and sulking in the shed.
Serves her right, and of course the three mean diesels right, because we don't like that diesel with the claw, and we much prefer the other nice diesels such as Daisy, Rusty, Amalia, Salty and Splatter and Dodge, because we'll be glad if she leaves Sodor. And now, Boko and Bear were coupled to the express. Boko was at the rear, behind the luggage van, and Bear was coupled in front of the coaches. And now the two of them were off. Even though that Bear is a bit of a wheezer, Bear can't help it. And the way how he got his name Bear was because of his engine that growls. He's not cross, he can't help it, because he's reliable and very friendly, same as Boko. But what about Diesel 10, as known as Fiona? She was now fully repaired and left two things behind. A nasty smell of bad manners and dumping her driver, PT Boomer, who's now became good. And all the engines said goodbye. So after Lady had disappeared, my uncle had just returned from his holiday. As soon as my uncle and auntie got back, we were all very pleased that we had done a good job of looking after the railway. And he was very pleased to have Aria and Molly to be Thomas's new crew. And he was also happy that the 6 to 8 year old T will be finding a new home, like moving in with me, Stacey and my mother. And Junior was glad that she was going to care as an aunt for T. So he was very pleased that the railway was well looked after and that Sodor will remain open forever for being such a good railway. And he is also glad that he's going to be the boy's great uncle, and of course for my mother's sister to be his great aunt. All the workers were glad about the old house pulled down. So now in shining time and around the Indian Valley and of course Sydney, one of T's friends was in a swimming comp, and it was Grace with dark hair. And now she was racing. So one of the other people in her team were in the same race. She came first. So most of her team won. And Taylor, one of T's other friends, was busy with her ballet dancing. And the three women who rescued T, which is the T who I'm adopting, or who I've actually adopted, were busy surfing. And Grace, the one with the red hair, was busy with gymnastics. And Grace's family, the one with the dark hair, were very proud of her. Ray was busy swimming laps when the competition had finished. So this is the mansion, the old mansion of the mafia railway inspector, the Fat Controller's big boss, his corrupt boss. My uncle's boss, I meant. So Butch got ready to tow away the other family car. And now they got ready to pull down the old mansion. And now everything was complete. So there's my old friend, the ex-school principal, who's now the groundskeeper of the rugby field. My two police allies, Mac and Dibbons, has adopted a new dog named Rex, who was a stray. And Gromit was lucky to have a new friend named Fluffles, who was Piella's and Bernard's dog. And Wallace was pleased that he rescued her from being put down. And Shining Time was back to normal as always.
It's almost over. I hope you enjoyed visiting the island of Sodor and seeing Thomas and his friends, and of course many of the friends, what the different teas have got. Plus, I want to say is that the movie is not quite over quite yet, because it is like pack-up time for tea, and it has now ended to a happy ending that Diesel 10, known as Fiona, has been sent back to her island where she runs her business. And all I want to say is that I'm glad that I'll be back on Sodor another time to look after the railway while my uncle is away on holiday. And I hope you all enjoyed T's first sequel, and we'll catch up again some other time. Bye!
Now we've come to the happy end. T's second film to the third part.
Of the fourth
now
part.
It's time for all of us to go home, just like Thomas and all his friends. And we hope that you enjoyed T's story of this film, this 3-part film.
4-part.
Gentlemen, Thank you, Gordon and Danny. I really appreciate it because you two big engines had taught 98462 a lesson. Plus those two yellow and green diesels and diesel 10. It was a good thing that Lindsay the steamroller had her lesson, because no one can mess with all of us nice engines. All the engines on Thomas's side, plus the coaches and trucks, were all happy being back at work. So everyone, here comes a special song for the bum 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 bum. Here comes a special song for Thomas.